This is the step-by-step instruction for the two photo rotating modules. First, we open the folder with the modules in it. You'll notice some several folders here. We're going to first look at rotate photos and the training modules. These are the two modules that you use for the rotation process. The first step, which is quite long, is you go ahead and take the training module, indicate the folder that you would like to train from. That's also included inside this folder. So notice that the directory indicates this folder here. Now after the training is done, after you click the training button, the module is going to deposit the training parameters to this folder. It's called TDS. Later, the Rotate Your Photos module will use these TDSs, or these training sets, to rotate the photos. So a few things to note. The code is the amount of pixels for each thumbnail. So this can be adjusted. However, I recommend maintaining about 400. That seems to be, or 20 by 20. That seems to be the optimal, at least by sight, thumbnail for figuring out the correct orientation. Iterations. For one iteration, it's about 30 minutes for 400. So I recommend 100 iterations. That's about a half a week. However, you can making it less will make it faster, but it may not converge to as many solutions. After the training is over, you will get an error rate. That will tell you how many of the training set can it predict correctly. So after pressing this button, you'll get this TDS file. And notice this has all the parameters in it. Now, since we're done with training, we'll go ahead and open the Rotate Your Photos file. Here you indicate which folder you like to rotate. This is where you would like to deposit the new photos that are correctly oriented. And this indicates where you want to get the training parameters from. So the same folder as before. So let's go ahead and open the results bin. Notice that I've already applied the rotate pictures. Let me erase it and show you what the non-rotated photos look like. I'll copy this, put in the results bin. Alright, I'm going to now rotate the pictures. And notice that it's applying the rotation algorithm to each photo. So while that's being done, it's being done on about 20 photos or so. Let me talk about a few of the other indicators here. The code here corresponds to the amount of pixels, just the same as before. I recommend, because you'll have more TD files, that to maintain the same code. It does not work with different pixel sizes for the same TD. I haven't scaled it appropriately. That can be done later in development. However, for the most part, most photos seem to, you can see with the human eye, you're able to figure out what the proper orientation is with a 20 by 20 thumbnail. There's a few side things which are very useful that I found in development with DVD Your Memories. Here's the upside down feature. Since figuring out the correct orientation is not always easy, sometimes it gives you two options. Sometimes it will actually be upside down. The scoring mechanism will tell you it's upside down. So what I do is in order to capture some of the odd ones in which it's upside down, you can remove the ones that were correctly oriented and then press this button, and the remainder that are in the inverted position will become righted. I just noticed this is just a heuristic. I just noticed this, that sometimes it will the maximum score is actually inverted. I don't have a reason for that, but this Band-Aid seems to help out if you don't want to rotate every photo subsequently they happen to all be upside down. If you have, what we find very useful for testing this product is that if you already have, let's say that you already know the orientation of all the photos and you want to test how well, how successful it is, we show the success rate here. So if all of them were oriented appropriately, then we would get 100%. We would hopefully get 100% success rate. But if we didn't, and all the original photos were oriented appropriately, we could look at the false positives that this particular algorithm incurred. So this clearly would be bad. However, if we oriented all of them to the right and then ran this program, and we saw the success rate was 95%, that would say that given a right-handed orientation, we capture 95% of those. So it's a little bit of a two-edged sword, but I find that having the success rate meter in here can be very useful. In order to change which orientation the photos that you're using the success rate meter for, 0 would indicate it's in the correct orientation, 1 would be to the right, 2 would be inverted, 3 would be to the left. And the P index, or what I call this, so the scoring index, indicates, do you take, of all the TD files that you look at each photo with, do you take the absolute maximum score? Do you take the average of each TD, or take the weighted average of each TD? Now, depending on the success and the photos that you have, you may want to change this P index to one that gives you the greatest amount of successful rotations. The counter here is very useful for the success rate, or actually, well, it's useful in general because it tells you how many rotations were actually applied. So notice here I applied 20 rotations. However, notice that 4 of them I wasn't able to rotate appropriately with the TDs I had. The idea is that if you get more than just 20 photos to train on, you'd expect that your success rate will increase asymptotically to 100%. I think that is it. Ed, well, let me know if you have any more questions. I can certainly go into this in more detail later with one of your technicians, but this is the photo-rotator. If you would like to know more about the algorithm and some of the esoteric mathematical details, please let me know. Anyways, I'll go ahead and send this video with the module. Thank you so much. Right, bye.